guys, welcome back to my channel. Before I start, I think last week I was saying that this week was supposed to be our first week back of going to school, and due to unfortunate weather, school have been canceled until further notice. And I think many of you have already heard about the devastating storm that hit Houston over the weekend. And not just Houston, Corpus Christi and Beaumont and surrounding areas in Texas. So before I start the video, I just want to say please keep Texas and the families that were affected by the storm in your prayers. So in this video, what I'm going to be talking about is how to stay organized in RT school. And this doesn't just apply to RT school. Maybe you're a freshman or in college, and I'm pretty sure school has started for many of you guys, but I think this can be helpful to keep you organized, and it can also help you pass your classes. For one, the most important thing I would say to have while in college is a planner. I know they have many planners out there, but I usually just get like a regular planner from Walmart that starts from January to December. I don't like those with the half year on them. So this planner it does just that for me, and I'm pretty sure there are very expensive planners out there, but to be honest, I'm not spending more than $15 on a planner. I'm just not going to do it. This does the exact same thing that those expensive planners do. And what I usually do is write down when I have my clinical days or exams or anything that's due in the calendar month, and then highlight it to know that it's very important. I have to be at clinical on this day, or something's due, or exam or quizzes due on those days. And on the Monday through Friday section, I would just write things that are due and things that need to be done before the next class is in session. And I like to highlight and be very colorful because it looks pretty, keeps it like vibrant, so it's not dull, and you kind of look at it and you're like, okay, this needs to be done and this needs to be done before this day and whatever. Another thing I like having is a notebook. I usually buy the 5 subject notebooks because I'm usually taking 4 or more classes per semester, and I buy the 5-star book because it does have the tabs already in there for you, so you don't really have to buy tabs and do it yourself. And I will usually get 2 of these every semester because I have one for my personal notes. As you can see here, it does say personal notes, and then I have one for class notes. So this book that says personal notes is where I write my notes when I'm reading. So if I'm reading and I find something that I feel will be on an exam, as you can see, I've already started writing. I would write it in here and then go over it before class starts, and then the one for the class notes, I would just write what the professor is saying and stuff like that. And another thing I would suggest you have are highlighters and colorful pens. I love things being colorful. I think I've said that already. So for, say, an example, if we are doing a chapter, I would have 2 highlighters and a pencil and a colored pen for that one chapter. So I would highlight things that stand out to me, and if I think it's something that I would have to know for an exam or something, I would usually highlight it in a different color. So like at the beginning of the chapter, I would do a line of yellow and then a line of pink, and then I would write, with the pink one, I would write things to know for the exam. So I know that the pink one is what I should be focusing on, that would be on an exam. And I would also use this one because one of my professors, like saying things like, if I were an RT student, I would want to know this for an exam. So if he says something like that and we're looking at our textbook and he says something like that, I would use a different colored pen to underline that section that he say. If I were an RT student, I would like to know something like that because I know it's most likely going to be on an exam. And another thing I would recommend is book tabs. These are so helpful. So for each chapter that we're doing, I would put a different color tab. Then it's easier for me to just go to those chapters instead of just looking through my book to find the chapters. And I also use Post-it sticky notes. And if I'm reading and I want to like make little notes, instead of just writing in my book, I would write it on a sticky note and just stick it on the page. Another thing I like having for school to keep me organized is a binder. So as you can see, I already have dividers in here. I haven't written anything on the dividers yet. So usually what I do with this binder is I would put papers in there, because sometimes, actually not sometimes, I do type up my notes as well. And then in those type of notes, I draw out what I think is most important and write them down in my personal notes, because I know that when I write things down, I remember it more. So it does sound like a lot, but it really isn't. So I will print those out and then put them in here to keep it organized, or I will put papers in there like my syllabus and papers my professor printed out for us. And another thing I like having is a voice recorder. I know this sounds very old-fashioned, but I bought this voice recorder because I know I daydream a lot. I know my mind wanders a lot, especially when I'm sitting in a classroom for a long period of time. I know when I'm bored and I'm sitting for a long period of time, I do think about other things. And that causes me to not pay attention in class. So with this, I can just go back and listen to it. And if I've missed anything, I would usually be able to pick it up when I get home and start listening to the lecture that was taught in class. And another thing is flashcards. Make flashcards. I know some people don't like using flashcards, but they work for me and they help me study a lot. They are so easy to have. You can put them in your backpack. You can take them with you literally everywhere. It's so much easier to just have flashcards with you and you can just look at them. I don't know what your programs are like, but my professor have us know the definitions, like, you know, those words in the beginning of each chapter. My professor usually have us know those definitions for each exam, so I write them down on flashcards and it's easier for me to just, you know, study those words. And another thing is read your chapter ahead of time before you go to class, because once you do that, you will find that you understand what they're talking about so much more. And this is something I learned during summer school. I read ahead of time, I took notes while I was reading, I went over those notes, and when I was in class and the professor was teaching, I would literally look like, oh my gosh, I know this, I already studied this. And you can ask questions if you need anything clarified if you read ahead of time. And another thing I have noticed that help is having study groups. Have a study group. It can be just you and somebody else, or it can be you and 2 other people, however big you want it, as long as you have people who will motivate you and encourage each other, and things will be so much better. And the night before your exam, please go to bed early. Do not wait the night before your exam to start studying, because you will become overwhelmed and you will not process the information. Trust me, I know this from experience. because I did it last semester. I didn't study ahead of time. I waited last minute to study, and I would be up all night studying, and when it was time for me to take my exam, everything I studied literally went out the window as soon as I opened that exam. So if you study ahead of time and you go to bed early the night before your exam, you will process everything so much better, and once you see your exam and you're like, oh my gosh, I know this stuff because I've studied it ahead of time. And when it comes to studying, find a quiet place to study, because it can make such a huge difference. I know a lot of people like studying in their houses. My house is pretty quiet, but I don't like studying here because my bed is very comfortable, and my internet, my TV, YouTube, Netflix, everything is literally here. So I don't like studying here. I rather go to a library where I'm not comfortable, where people are studying and people are barely talking. So when I do get to the library, I do turn my phone off. I put it on airplane mode because I don't want to be disturbed. And I would spend that time studying. I would usually be at the library for about 5 to 6 to 7 hours, however long it takes me to study everything I need to be studied, and then I come home and relax and watch TV. And another thing, the most important thing, is to manage your time. Don't wait until the last minute to do things. I know maybe there are freshmen coming into college. I think school have already started for a lot of people, but I know I remember my freshman year, there was so much to do in college. And don't put off your schoolwork because you want to follow your friends to go to an event. You don't know, maybe they might have already studied, or they might have already done their work, and you're putting off your schoolwork because you want to hang out with them. It is important to hang out with your friends, to spend time with them in college. But if you have something like an exam on a Monday, manage your time. Say, okay, Monday through Friday I'm just going to study, and on Saturday I'm going to hang out with my friends and go to this event that they're having. And then you can do that, but don't put it off and say, okay, I'm just going to wait till Friday to do it. I'll just do it tomorrow. I'm just going to do it tomorrow because Friday is so far away. Friday is not far away. Friday is literally around the corner, and the more you put it off, the more it's going to pile on you, and you're most likely not going to do your work, and you're going to go to that event anyway, and you probably will fail your exam. So please manage your time wisely. And most importantly, this is something I also learned this semester. Most importantly, please make time for yourself. Do not focus so much on studying and taking notes and reading that you forget to make time for yourself, because at the end of everything you'll be emotionally drained because maybe you're not making the grades that you want to make, and it will become very overwhelming for you. So make time for yourself. Go do things that you want to do. Like maybe you like taking walks, maybe you like going to the gym, maybe you like riding bikes. Go do all those things. Don't forget to make time for yourself. You know, put yourself first. If you make time for yourself, you will find that everything will go out smoothly in your semester because you didn't put yourself in the back burner and focus on everything else. At the end of the day, you're what's most important. If you are feeling like, okay, I've been studying all day today and I'm not processing this information, maybe it's a sign that you need to take a break. Go for a walk, go ride your bike, go to the gym, go take a nap, do something that will relax your mind, so when you do come back to studying, the information that you are studying will process and stick in your brain. So that's, I would say, is the most important thing. Always schedule time for yourself. I think that's it for this video. I think that's all I actually wanted to talk about. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching and tuning in, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.